Hello, I've covered in another video why in an environment of global economic and geopolitical uncertainty, trust in financial institutions and currencies is fading. Investors want to shift from paper investments such as shares, funds, bonds, even bank savings into real physical assets such as gold and property. Gold in particular has done really well over the past 2 years, doubling in value and reaching a historical high in January 2026. But since then, it has fallen. The problem with gold is that whilst it may grow in value, it never gives you income and is not really suitable for very long-term investment. And right now, at such high prices, many think that investing in gold is also a risk. On the other hand, suitable residential property is a secure, tangible asset that grows over the long term, is really useful in that it provides someone with a home and gives good rental income. It's an asset you still have even if the financial world collapses. With this in mind, many investors have been looking towards investing in property assets in the UK and also internationally. In this video, I explain why such investors are now considering UK property, particularly low-cost, affordable freehold houses in the north of England. I'll cover 5 reasons why such UK property is now amongst the best forms of investment. And at the end, I'll also cover the biggest single issue with UK property and how to overcome it. So I'm going to cover the top 5 reasons why investors who want to shift from paper investments such as shares, funds, bonds, and bank savings into real physical assets are now considering UK rental property in the form of low-cost freehold houses. Number 1, political and economic stability with secure legal ownership. The UK offers long-term political stability, strong institutions, and a well-regulated property market which reduces long-term investment risk. It has the most established and transparent legal systems for property ownership, investor rights are clearly protected, contracts are enforceable, and the land registry system provides certainty of ownership. Houses in the UK are freehold, where you own the land as well as the property with no hidden costs, ground rent, or service charges. Number 2, steady capital growth. I've looked at capital growth in the UK in detail over the past 70 years. And yes, it has been affected by recessions and world events, but overall the effects have been minor. On average, house prices in the UK have doubled every 12 to 13 years, with steady long-term growth. And this has surprisingly been true in all areas of the UK over the long term. Houses in prime areas of London and the cheapest areas of the north have grown at similar rates when averaged over the long term. Number 3, high UK rental yields. There's a culture of rental in the UK with up to 35% residents renting their property, and the majority are in the private rented sector. Rental demand has increased as renting has been made more attractive by the recent Renters' Rights Act with higher property standards and energy efficiency regulations. Supply, on the other hand, is expected to become tighter, and new house building continues to fall behind population growth. Thus, rents are expected to continue to increase. Net rental yields of 7% after all costs are possible with low-cost freehold houses. Number 4, more affordable. The best investment property in the UK are affordable, low-cost houses in the north of England. Investors can buy a 2-bedroom freehold house that is fully renovated with long-term guarantees and rented to good tenants for under £80,000, with net rental income after all costs of over £5,600 per year. Low-cost houses deliver higher rental yields and are expected to grow better than more expensive houses in London and the south. They're affordable even without a mortgage, and instead of buying one expensive property, investors can buy multiple low-cost houses for the same budget, and these reduce investment risk, provide more flexibility, and enable them to build their portfolio gradually in a stepwise manner. Number 5, UK property is tax efficient. Many people are surprised when I say that property investment in the UK can be very tax efficient. For example, many non-residents still have access to the UK personal allowance. This means that a couple can earn over £25,000 in rent and still not pay any tax. They can thus own up to 4 low-cost houses in the UK and still not pay any income tax because each person has £12,570 of tax-free income. Even high-rate UK taxpayers can structure the property investment through a family investment company to minimise taxes and reduce or eliminate inheritance tax. I cover in other videos how large property portfolios can be built in this way, very tax efficiently. Investors basically lend their money to their own company, which buys low-cost investment properties. The rent stays and builds up within the company, and further funds can be added by the investor to gradually acquire more properties and build a large portfolio. When investors need money, for example, during retirement, they first take back their loan from the company, and this is 100% tax-free. The shares are structured in such a way that eventually the company passes to their children in a tax-efficient manner when they eventually go. So there are indeed many clear reasons for investors who consider UK property for long-term investment and family financial security. And now I'm going to cover the main disadvantage of UK rental property and also cover how this can be completely overcome. The problem is that normally owning UK rental property is not 100% passive. The investor acts as the landlord and has liabilities to the tenant and has to maintain the property in a good condition. There are cost, tenant problems, and landlord headaches. If investors do decide to switch away from paper investments and savings to considering UK property, then they should plan to own the property 100% passively without taking on the liabilities of the landlord or having to deal with tenant or property maintenance issues. They can do this by buying the rental property and immediately renting it to a professional company, such as the sponsor of this video, who agrees to become their tenant and take on every cost and every liability and pays them a fair rent. The company then acts as the landlord and sublet to their own tenants to get a higher rent than they pay the owner and handle the maintenance, compliance, arrears risk, tenant issues, and all the liabilities under the Renters' Rights Act. Investors simply get the agreed net rent regularly with no surprises and no involvement. The company can do this by being efficient and having processes to reduce all of the landlord costs. Unlike a letting agent, the company is responsible for paying all the costs, so they work harder to keep these lower. They can thus pay the investor a good net rent, but still cover their costs and be profitable overall. UK property gives good income and steady long-term growth with low geopolitical investment risk. It's a secure, tangible, physical asset that you possess and which is still there even if the financial world collapses. This 100% passive system removes the main fear and obstacle to converting your paper investments and savings to UK property. Please watch the short message from our sponsor at the end on how this passive system works and why low-cost residential houses in the north of England represent the best value. Thanks for watching. Freehold houses in the north are the best form of UK property investment. They're affordable, deliver higher rental yields, and are growing at 6% per year. And here's an amazing offer from our sponsor.
To celebrate Find UK Property's 18th anniversary, you can reserve any house this month and get 4 years rent in advance. For example, this 2-bed freehold house with lounge, dining kitchen, bathroom suite and 2 bedrooms is under £80,000 with net rent after all costs of £5,600 per year. With 4 years rent up front, you pay just £57,599, making your net rental yield almost 10%. The biggest benefit is that you can be a 100% passive owner, living anywhere in the UK or abroad. You rent your property back to Find UK Property, and they take care of all the costs, tenant and property issues, and landlord liabilities.
Visit findukproperty.com or call us today.